Hey guys! Welcome back to Let's Play Star Ocean 3. Since last time, I've actually gathered one more item that I forgot about creating. Now, again, same party as before when it comes to creating the items. Barbados, Roger, and Stannis. And you're looking for a value between 275 and 303. Now, last time I did a bunch of item creation as well as a bunch of other stuff, finished up what we can do for now of the little side quest with the letter from the King of Eriglyph. This time we're going to show off how to do specify plan, which is something I haven't really gone over yet. This is what's known as refining. Now, when it comes to refining, when you do original creation or original invention, the skill levels that your characters have is important. When doing specify plan, it is not. Now, when doing specify plan, as you see at the top there, you are required to use crafting materials. Now, I did find a way of obtaining crafting materials at a somewhat easy pace. It's not super great, but basically what you do is you'll recharge your ring and you go into a dungeon. You eliminate one object so that only one of those spinning crystals shows up. And you wait for the timer to run out, which is of course faster with fast forward to some extent. And hopefully you'll get crafting materials. Now, my luck in the Krulsa training facility, which is the one I saw people referencing online more than any other location, seemed to work best for me. I'd go in there and I'd get crafting materials about 50% of the time. So basically what you'll do is you'll go into a room. I can't really do it right here, but you'll pull up your menu for whatever it is. And I can... if this will load, I can show it off real quick. Just throw on fast forward, run up to any dungeon. I should have started up here, but I wanted to talk about the other stuff that I was doing there, because that's what was foremost on my mind. Basically, you pop up your menu here, you destroy one object, one crystal, you wait for the timer to run out, and in this dungeon, I seem to get cooking ingredients a lot. In the other one, like I said, about 50% of the time I seem to get crafting materials, which is what you actually want to get, even though it's much farther away to walk to get there. So basically, as soon as you do that, there's a select option from that screen. You press the select button, it'll reset, you'll go back to the start of the screen, and then you can do the whole thing over again. You'll be able to go back to the same location, kill the same item, etc. Just do that, for 5 or 10 minutes. You should have enough crafting materials to continue going. Now, the way that this works is, like I was saying, it doesn't require your character's skills. So the only thing that actually carries over is whether they can do crafting or not, and whether you gain points, or sorry, not points, whether you get let's take a look here. Modifiers. So, no, let's take a look at the inventor list. Now, as you can see on the middle and the right-hand side of the screen there, you have a time modifier and a cost modifier. In her case, it's minus 30%. Now, let's see. Stannis has minus 30% time and minus 20% cost. These are the only things that really affect what you're going to be doing. Now, certain inventors, such as Barbados, are really good for some things. Very fast means the time bar, I think I explained this before, goes by 40% faster, but he costs 50% more, which just isn't worth it, specifically when doing refining, because refining gets expensive very quickly. Barbados is good at this point in the game, but by the end of the game, he'll almost never be used because it's just far too expensive to use him to item create anything that costs anything. So let's take a look. Did we get anything else interesting around here? Some of this stuff is new. I think that's junk. I'm trying to remember. And this is one of the things I created last time. So is Blue Talisman. Duck Duck Bomb. I should go buy some of those. Just a bunch there. I can't remember if they're good, how useful they actually are. Anyway, since last time we got the Bangle of Accuracy, which is actually quite easy to item create, like I was saying, or like I kind of explained at the start, with the party that I had been using, Roger, Barbados, and Stannis, between 275 and 303. Basically, you want to item create those for a specific reason, and that reason is kind of important to specify plan. So let's just get right into it here. Now, the way it works, as you can see, I've already done a whole bunch of this off screen because it does take some time. If it has a modifier, in other words, a number in brackets on the right, you can change it. Now, certain specs or certain modifiers will change in predictable ways. In the case of experience plus 10%, it will always become experience plus 20%, which has no modifiers. You can't change anything on the item. But not all items have only one. In the case of the Bangle of Accuracy, it starts off with 2 modifiers. Now, when you run the line, and I will show this off, you have a chance of changing the attack plus 10% into attack plus 30%, which is why I made these. These are really good, and I'd forgotten about them. Or, in this case, the attack plus 5, it has a modifier as well, or it has, yeah, a modifier, and it has a factor, and it can change. In this case, it just duplicates. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't upgrade to plus 10, attack plus 10 or anything like that. There's only certain things that they can do, and if they have a 1 next to them, they can only do that one thing. So attack plus 10%, if it's successful, will always be attack plus 30%, and attack plus 5, if it's got a 1 next to it, will always duplicate itself. If there's a 2, then there are different things that can happen for it. Certain things, I wonder if I have anything off right here that has a 2. No, probably not. I can't even look at those. Basically, if there's something that has a 2 on it, there's 2 different outcomes. So maybe it will duplicate, or maybe it'll disappear. It all depends. Anyway, when you go to do specify plan, you want to select an item that you want to do something with. It'll use crafting materials as indicated at the top of the screen, and you just select your item, and it'll cost a predetermined amount of money. One thing to note is if it's looking really expensive, you just select one of your characters here, and then you can basically change the cost, and you can work around until you find kind of the lowest value. Now, at this point, I'm going to make a save state here, because I don't want to waste a whole bunch of money. Normally what you do if you don't have save states is you make a save file and you reload constantly if it costs too much. You try inventing the line. Now, what'll happen when I'm actually successful is that happens. Nice. So it was successful, it upgraded, now it's the max that it can possibly get. However, let's take a look at some of the other things here. I can't even show off the blue talismans anymore because I've already upgraded them. I'll show them in a moment here. But if, say, we go to something like this, I can still do stuff with this even though I've upgraded part of it, unlike with the blue talisman. The reason is because, of course, the attack plus 5 factors can still duplicate, and I could waste money duplicating them over and over again. Now, if you have more than one factor that has the potential to change or duplicate or whatever, you will be able to run the line over and over and over again. Now, I'm going to make another save state here. The way that this works is each time you're attempting one of them. And in this case, it worked for me right away, and it just duplicated. However, let's try this again because it's not helping me to explain things very well. Yeah, sometimes the price will increase or decrease depending on what you've done to it previously. Before it was in the high 300s to low 400s range or whatever it was. Now it actually can go down even lower. Sometimes it'll be much more expensive, say with the haste ring, which I haven't actually done any modifying to yet. But over time, you can actually go through more than one round. See, they failed to do anything that time. You can see by their portraits. Now, these portraits show that something was successful. However, it didn't finish the entire line. So I don't know what determines this. I think it's kind of random. But so they've completed something successfully. Now they can go and do something else. So I don't think they can work on anything that they already fixed. But they've worked on one thing, duplicated the attack plus 5, or increased the attack plus 10% to attack plus 30. Now, if you get another one, it'll either show another happy face or it'll show something else. In this case, I wasted a bunch of money, but I don't care. But I got the attack factor that I wanted. Now, one thing to note when refining these things, is if you duplicate, and it's basically random which ones will change. Sometimes you can change 2 or 3 if there's 3 factors that can change in one line. Just have it go over and get the smiley faces multiple times, just like when you're doing original creation and you're trying to get an item more than once. The same kind of effect applies. Now with refining, because you have materials that you're expending, you may want to let it go over and over again unless it becomes super expensive. If you keep failing over and over again, you know, reload your old file, old save state, whatever it is, and do it that way. So if you are trying to get the attack plus 10% to turn into attack plus 30%, it's probably best to try and make that happen first before duplicating the attack plus 5 factors, because if you duplicate all of them, there's an equal chance for each of those factors to be affected. So say you have 4 attack plus 5 factors, they all have 1s next to them, and the attack plus 10 factor. So you have a 1 in 5 chance of it being each of the attack plus 5s or the attack plus 10. So basically it becomes more difficult to try and make changes to the one stat that you're trying to affect. Hopefully I've explained this reasonably well. I've gone through a whole bunch of money while I've done this, of course, because it is quite expensive. If you do have any questions, just let me know in comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. Now, basically, let's take a look at some of these items that we've got. The Ring of Erudition is just for experience, nothing else. I'm not going to use these yet because I'm slightly over-leveled as is. Not much, but a little bit. But I basically want to set them up for later. Now is as good a time as any to make them, so is what it is. I've created a bunch of these. I don't really care to upgrade them right now, and I probably won't. Maybe I will. We'll see. Now, Bangle of Accuracy. As you can see, these are going to increase my attack power dramatically, so actually quite worthwhile to create them, which is why I've made 6 of them. Let's take a look at something else here. Elven Blue Talisman. These upgraded, like I was talking about before, to no HP damage 30% of the time from 10. Now you have to do this twice. The first one at 10%, it's got a 1 next to it, it becomes no HP damage 20% of the time. And then 20% has a 1 next to it, and you do it one more time, and you get no HP damage 30% of the time, and then it's capped and you can't make changes from there. So anyway, I have those. I'm not going to use them quite yet, but they will be useful at some point in the future. Relatively near future, actually. Now, what else do I have here? Warrior's Bracelet is junk now. So are the items that I've been using for quite some time. The Brooch of Footworks. You know, losing the extra hit percentage is really negligible compared to... where'd they go? Compared to the additional attack power, you know, that's almost 100 more attack power. It is easily worth the drop in hit percentage. I think that also deals with like the chance of block. Hit percentage is a lot more valuable on higher difficulty levels where enemies have a higher chance to block. Right now on Galaxy difficulty, not particularly effective. It might be more worthwhile to keep the other ones on if you're playing, say, Universe or the higher level difficulty above Universe, which I'm not going to mention because that's a plot point, oddly enough. So anyway, let's throw these on, and yeah, basically massive attack increase. We become much more powerful at this point, and it's just so worthwhile to do it. I still want that on for you because I want to spam your skills at this point. So you're going to lose a little bit out on the attack power there. Now, we can also do some other things here. Like I could take... Here, I might as well just kind of show it off real quick. You can use other materials that aren't... let's just put you in and go to smithing. No. There we go. You can do like this, and the defense plus 5 will duplicate, and you can duplicate that up to 8 times. Each item can hold up to 8 factors, and get some extra defense out of it. I don't particularly care to do that. Okay, sorry about that, just got interrupted there. Anyway, like I was saying, you could dupe them. I don't care to do it. It really doesn't make that much of a difference at this stage in the game, and smithery materials, now, you know, I could do that, but I will be using a whole bunch of them later in the game before we get an access to buying them. We'll be able to buy crafting materials at some point too, but there's just a lot more items that you'll want to craft and refine early game than there are weapons or armor that you want to use smithery materials on. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to go over with that for now? There's also synthesizing. Oh yeah, basically the reason why I chose to use the characters that I did for refining was obviously because of their factors. Because Stannis had the minus 30% time, minus 20% cost. Well, damn it, stop that. Maria has minus 10% cost. Nell, these are all invisible, by the way, on your main characters. Nell has minus 5% time, I think. Fate has no modifiers. Roger and Cliff, I think, have plus 5% time, so they're a little slower. Albel, I can't remember what he has. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. So that's pretty much why I did that. With that being said, you could do specified plan to change a bunch of other things as well if you wanted to. The Feline Guardians, I believe the 20% break will reduce down to much less. I haven't had to use these so far, so I'm not really going to put the effort in to try and fix them all up, but you could do that if you wanted to. This will refine up to 20% increased HP if you want to do that. You can also item creation these at this point in the game, though I can't remember how much it takes. I don't know what that does. No idea what that does. But yeah, so basically we have all of these extra items now. We have an ability to create more crafting materials if we so desire. And yeah, for the most part, we're pretty much set up for anything that we really want to do. Yeah, so where should I meet you? I wanted to get more through the next bit of the plot today, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Give me a moment. Okay, basically I don't have time to do any of the other things that I want to do, which is basically just progress with the plot. I kind of wanted to, but I'll just cut this video short and we'll make sure we get through all the plot we need to and story time and all the other stuff next time. So at the start of the next video, I will meet you back in the Urusal Lava Caves in the middle path there where we noticed that the door was blocked by big rocks and all that. Anyway, this again, I will reiterate, is that no turning back point for a little while, so make sure you recruit everyone as far as inventors that you want to. Make sure you grab all excess treasures that you want to, and do all the item creation that you feel like doing, because we're not going to have access to it for, well, a little while anyway. So that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.